What's up, YouTube? It's Jefferson from Jefferson Reads the Newspaper. Back again to read the newspaper. As usual, we are a Canadian disinformation campaign, much like what Russia did in 2016. This show is a Canadian version of that. And so basically, I'm just trying to create a bunch of fake news for the Canadian government in order to disrupt the 2020 election cycle in the United States. Because the Canadians ain't gonna let the Russians be the only one in the party. You know, the Canadians, they like jewels, and they want to see the jewel messaging at the forefront of political discourse in this country. Apparently on Wednesday, March 20th, the food section becomes the front page. Not exactly sure why, but I think we should read about food because everyone needs food. Well, I guess some people can survive on nootropics, or what is the shit that Joe Rogan's always talking about? Not that I watch Joe Rogan, but I might sometimes. All right, food, happy hour. Happy hour is about so much more than food. What do you think, Suma? When I finished grad school, terrified that potential employers would not, by M. Carey Allen. Terrified that potential employers would not see value in my expertise in poetic enjambment or fractured narratives in the 20th century novel, I found a great animal protection nonprofit organization that was willing to employ me as an editor. I dug in there like a grateful tick. All right. That's my full-time job. What I do when I'm not opining about cocktails, and sometimes what drives me to drink them. I've been working there for nearly 20 years now, which is weird. My dad was with the State Department and our family uprooted frequently throughout my childhood, so I tend to get twitchy if I stay anywhere very long. But here we are. I could say I stay because the work is meaningful and I feel like I'm making a difference, and that's actually true most days. But also I stay for the happy hours. Oh my God. Find a new reason to live. All right, let's read the front page. Facebook makes big changes to ad system. Software overhaul part of settlement with groups alleging discrimination. What? USC was the most frequent target for alleged bribery and admissions fraud. A bystander posed in front of a photo of Tommy Trojan, a statue at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. Why is University of Southern California's mascot? Whoa. Hey. Why is it the Trojan? I guess California does have a sort of a Mediterranean climate, but I don't know. What if we all had tiny hands at the tips of our fingers, so all of our fingers had a little hand that was also fully, you know. Okay. Ticket to Democratic debates. 65,000 donors. Party's new requirement could boost lesser-known presidential candidates. The latest turn in the Democratic presidential race looks a bit like an infomercial for a food dehydrator, or Ginsu knives. Former Congressman John Delaney stands in front of a whiteboard in an online video pitching voters on a new way to double their money. It's really simple and actually a pretty good deal, Maryland Democrat says. You give one, I give two to a charity of your choice. You heard that, Rex. A candidate for president wants your donation so bad that he's willing to pay twice as much out of his own pocket. How does he have this much money? The reason has little to do with traditional campaign fundraising. And a lot to do with the new criteria the Democratic Party has laid out for qualifying for the first debates. Either earn at least 1% support in a series of public polls of Democratic voters or attract 65,000 individual donors. Hitting 65,000 has become a magic ticket for many of the party's presidential candidates who are struggling to rank in public polls, given a field that already has 15 contenders, with several more waiting in the wings. The new criteria have proven to be a boon to lesser-known candidates seeking a national stage this summer and could create challenges for more established politicians seeking to break away from the pack, with unpredictable repercussions for the party. I think it's a good thing. Yeah, I mean, like, people, if candidates are just courting giant donors, then, you know, they're not going to get 65,000 individual donors. What am I talking about? I lost my train of thought. Oh, Plumpy, you're a cutie. All right. Let's read in the news. Ethical violations. The DC Council reprimanded Jack Evans for soliciting business from law firms that lobby the city. Postpartum medication authorized. The FDA approved a first drug specifically specialized to treat postpartum depression. Drug. The Nation. Michael Cohen's emails were a target of the Mueller probe months before raids of his office and home last April, according to unsealed warrants. False alerts of active shooters have become a periodic occurrences nationwide, and they can cause trauma and injuries. In a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court ruled that federal authorities have broad powers when detaining some immigrants. New details of the president's 2020 budget plan outline desired cuts at the National Science Foundation. Of course they did. These are anti-science idiots. My hair's getting awesome. President Trump nominated Stephen F. Dick's son, a former airline executive, to lead the FAA. The world. Health workers in Christchurch are counseling people after the mass shooting, which for some rekindled anxiety that followed a 2011 earthquake. Kazakhstan's President Nursultan Nazarbayev said he would step down after 30 years in power. Wow. President Trump welcomed Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, aka Trump of the Tropics, to the White House. Meanwhile, another leader is doubling down on Trump-like tactics, Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu. How long has Netanyahu been in charge in Israel? I feel like he's been there for a fucking while. The district had the highest intensity of gentrification among U.S. cities, a study found. Yeah, I bet. A new consortium said it would seek to make the region a national leader in finding digital solutions to urban problems. Digital solutions to urban problems. We're going to find digital solutions to urban problems. Because tech can save everything. Rent out your toilet. Here's an idea. Uber for toilets. Let strangers come into your house and they can pay you $5 to take a big old shit in your toilet. It's the sharing economy, people. You have to share everything for corporate profit. Anything you own, you don't actually own. You have to share it with corporations who will make profit off of you. That's the sharing economy. It's wonderful. All you do is everything that you think is yours, you realize it's not, and you let some fucking startup from Silicon Valley share it for you with complete strangers who you don't know, and you get a little bit of money, and they get a lot of money, and, you know, that's the sharing economy. We all got to chip in. Rent out your fucking toilet to people who are walking around. They got to take a shit. They're going to come in your house. They'll Venmo you like $5, maybe 50 cents. 90% of That goes to Toilet IQ, a new startup, and you get like a nickel. It's the sharing economy. It's good for everyone. Everyone likes sharing their shit with strangers. Yo, fuck Silicon Valley. How about that? Right, Sumo? You agree with that? How about we find how about we just find solutions to urban problems? Why do they have to be digital solutions? Here's a solution. You don't sleep in your bed half the day. 12 hours a day, your bed is just empty because you're at work or running errands. Why don't you let strangers sleep in your bed? We can solve the housing crisis. Just share everything with a corporation. Jewel. Okay. A federal judges hearing the annulments case involving the Trump Hotel in D.C. seems skeptical that the president was profiting illegally. Really? Some D.C. schools with most students from low-income families could face steep spending cuts this year, budget documents suggest. A floating lab called the Sea Dog will monitor the quality of the Potomac as part of an effort to get people back into the water. Oh, they want people to fucking swim in the Potomac? I'll go swimming in the Potomac. I can just go start swimming in the Potomac? Is that what they're saying? The Library of Congress's new list of entries to its registry includes a speech by Robert Kennedy and Schoolhouse Rock songs. Cool. Mike Trout, the best player in baseball, is actually underpaid. $400 million. All right, what do I want to read? La. West Virginia lawsuit claims diocese covered up sexual abuse. Wait! The Catholic Church? Sexual abuse? This is new. West Virginia sued the Catholic Diocese of Wheeling, Charleston, and former Bishop Michael J. Bransfield on Tuesday, charging that they knowingly employed pedophiles and failed to conduct adequate background checks for people working in Catholic schools and camps. What? The Catholic Church harbors pedophiles in West Virginia? Who would have seen that coming? The Catholic Church? Pedophilia? That is crazy. Who? The Catholic Church? They're the paragon of virtue. They're molesting kids? Man, if only someone had seen this coming. If only there had been dozens of cases all around the world in various Catholic Church dioceses of the exact same thing, that would have given us a clue that maybe this is a systemic problem of the church rather than just, coincidences. If only. The cage bird sings, Maya Angelou, right? Or I'm just not well read. Trump and Brazil's new right-wing leader see each other as kindred spirits. God. I still just can't believe the Catholic Church was caught molesting kids again. It's like, I just really am surprised. The Catholic Church harboring pedophiles. Well, at least it's only in West Virginia. I mean, I really love West Virginia. It's a beautiful state. Wonderful people in West Virginia, resilient, kind. And it sucks that the Catholic Church just happened to have one bad actor in West Virginia. Because they definitely shouldn't just be shut down worldwide for crimes against children. But I wonder how much money the Catholic Church has. I mean, if you have $1,000 in a bank account for 1,000 years, and it grows at 1% compounding interest. Oh, my Alexa's broken. I poured water on it. Not purposely. Wow, this show's going off the rails. It's a wonder no one watches this. I mean, it makes sense that no one watches this. La 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 la. Let's read our old friend Carolyn Hacks. Now that we're done opining about how surprising it is that the Catholic Church was caught molesting kids in West Virginia. I mean, I just did not see that coming at all. The Catholic Church. Here I thought the Catholic Church only did good worldwide. But, all right, Carolyn Hacks. Time may alleviate urge to be unkind. Okay. Hi, Carolyn. My mother-in-law was very unkind. Well, hold on. Hi, Carolyn. My mother-in-law has very unkind things to say about my ex-sister-in-law. And as a woman, I deplore how my brother-in-law handled his divorce. I'm really struggling with my relationship with her. I don't trust her. I can't help but feel if I were in the ex-sister-in-law's shoes, she would be talking to me in the same way. I have maintained a respectful relationship with my mother-in-law, but I do not want to be close to her. Wait, I'm so confused. There's so many in-laws. Okay, so ex-sister-in-law, and I deplore how my brother-in-law What? Wouldn't the brother not be the brother-in-law if his wife that he divorced was a sister? I don't understand. Okay. That's fair. Though, it might help. Oh, okay. The mother-in-law. So it's her husband's family, and she's mad at her husband's family. Okay. Sorry. I'm not good at people. Oh, I have a watcher. Hi, watcher. I think it's a certain red-haired lady that I know. Daughter-in-law, that's fair. Though it might help if you tack a right now onto your thoughts. My mother-in-law has very unkind to say right now. I don't trust her right now. I don't want to be close to her right now. 2 reasons. 1, divorce unhinges people. A son who is suffering, even a grown one, can certainly unhinge a mama bear. Maybe that's too kind. Maybe she's terrible and her son's worse and the divorce merely exposed it all. But it is possible she's reacting terribly and imparted her terrible crisis skills onto your brother-in-law, which would allow for her to return to a gentler version of herself in due time. 2, the best case scenario for you, your spouse, and your in-laws is for you all to be in each other's lives for a very long time. Yes? So even if it's entirely appropriate to question an in-law's behavior or trustworthiness, as it appears here, it's also pragmatic to look for reasons to forgive and forget anything that falls short of being terrible. Emphasis on the forget. I hope you also recognize lost my spot. Oh, I hope you also recognize the decency in standing up for your ex-sister-in-law with gentle good nature, such as, yikes, what do you say about me when I'm not here? I'm never leaving the room again. Warm hyperbole, I think it's actually pronounced hyperbole. Warm hyperbole lets you clap back with mittens on. Carolyn Hacks dropping clap back. If she responds defensively, then stand firm on an unassailable point. I understand your hard feelings, but I considered her a friend. This hurts. If she and your brother-in-law prove they're truly terrible versus fleetingly so, then you can always drop the right now and make respectful distance your thing. One more thought to file away as you process this difficult change. The kind of idle backstabbing you describe is bad, of course, but it also allows for a measure of detachment. Let's say you become her next ex-daughter-in-law. Would it really matter at that point what she said about you? And even if she trusts you now in your absence, that's her problem, isn't it? And wouldn't it be lovely, in either case, if someone in the room at the time gently stood up for you? Certainly, some trashings have consequences, especially from people in power and from those who aim and succeed at turning others against you. But experience tells me the average backstabber reliably comes out worse in the end than the backstabee. In the context of what you've known about her till now, if the context of what you've known about her till now supports it, then there might be grounds to see your mother-in-law as more of an object of pity, even sympathy, than as a villain. If nothing else, it's a disciplined exercise to view her with the kind of humanity that she herself has been unable to summon for her own ex-daughter-in-law. Carolyn Hacks, doing it again. Very level advice, in my opinion, but I don't really know anything. I never paid attention in school to anything, ever. It's a marvel that I have a college degree from a shitty, and that's not that shitty, a mid-tier state school. All right, what are we 22 minutes? I think I'm done. As usual, this is Jefferson Reads the Newspaper. We're a Canadian disinformation campaign to affect the 2020 election in favor of Canadian policies. Same thing Russia did in 2016. Canada is paying me lots of money, as you can see by this cup. And, I'm just trying to affect the 2020 election by spreading disinformation and fake news. So, thank you, Canada, for the money. And hopefully Canada's chosen candidate, which they haven't decided yet. But when they do, I will support that candidate wins. Anyway, this has been